Hello everyone. In this one I'll talk a bit about the perceived difficulty of Path of Exile 2 campaign. It's all about the gear and build, of course. You can't run around with random gems and passives, but I'll touch upon that a bit later. At the start I want to focus on gear and how you should gear up. I did a series of boss guides, but then I realized, hold on a minute, why am I making these guides when I should teach people how to trivialize those bosses in the first place? The campaign is pretty tough at first, especially if it's your first character. You do get some drops and some exalt orbs to do some crafting, but with the RNG involved in this, I strongly advised against it. I'll encourage you to do some trading instead. You can skip using the timestamps below, but I'd like you to watch the entire video for context, you know. If you're not interested, just skip ahead. That's why I put those under some videos after all. Let's take a look at my first character. It was completely solo self-found. I didn't trade, but I just used what I was given by the game. And the game wasn't giving, guys. The first few days at least, until GGG dropped a patch that boosted the drops. It was a fun experience, as I didn't want to blast through the entire game anyway. So while it was fun during the campaign, and this character forced me to learn all the bosses and their mechanics because I had low damage and was pretty squishy. But I reached the end game, I'm pushing maps and I'm realizing how hard it is to gear up. Because to get the needed bases for crafting, I need to do stupidly high maps with my low level 59 weapon. So yeah, need to kill level 79 monsters for a new base to craft upon with 59 gear. See the problem? It's doable, but it's tedious and I don't have patience for that. Then I made this alt and decided I'll use all things at my disposal to make it as painless as possible. For that I did minimal crafting, because with crafting or gambling at the vendors, you're essentially wasting resources in my opinion. Let me give you an example. Let's say you got a good base and you get a good affix and a good suffix on it. Then you'll need to regal orbit to make it rare. Or you can just alchemy orb the base from the start to make it rare, but that's wasteful in my opinion. I like the first method, so I know from the start for cheap if the item deserves more investment or not. Then you need to use 3 exalt orbs to max it out. And you can break it easily because you essentially YOLO 4 times after you get a good magic item. That's 4 times rolling the dice and potentially get shit like plus light radius. Why the fuck this exists, I don't even... but I digress. Oh, and you can't reset the item like in Path of Exile 1 where we had scourge orbs, you know. So you can only craft on what you find killing monsters or in the shops. What I'm trying to say is don't waste your materials crafting, guys. It's pretty pointless. Yeah, you can hit it and it feels good when you actually craft a good item you want to use. But if you draw the line like I did at level 82 and realize how many exalted orbs you wasted trying to craft your stuff. Now, full disclaimer here, this will work only partially on a bad build. Meaning the game will not feel that hard, but you'll struggle in certain situations anyway because, yeah, your build is bad. And disclaimer number 2, you need at least a premium stash tab to be able to sell stuff. So if you want to resell an item you got earlier in the campaign, you need a premium stash tab. You can buy items without those, and you are focusing on buying items now, not selling them. So what I did, I went to Path of Exile 2 website. From there I went to trade, obviously. Log in with your account as it's safe, because it's the official website. Now let's say you are an infernalist like me, for the sake of the video. You need to identify what pieces of gear you can buy that gives you the most power. Let's look for weapons and helmets, because those two can give you plus level of all minion skills. You can also go for amulets too, but because I'm cheap, I went for scepters and helms only. You can easily check what items can spawn with that by picking in the stat filters the one you're interested in. So we'll pick this one and can scroll through them and notice this is available on scepters, helmets and amulets. Now let's narrow it down and put in another stat, let's say % increased spirit. That is a must have in my opinion, as it will dictate how many minions can have at any given time, you know. And finally, you can add some stats that buff your minions damage or life regen per second, even reduce attribute requirements if you struggle with strength, for example. You can also put a desired level of the scepter, and finally a price. A good rule for me was to put one exalted orb. I'm sure you can find cheaper items, but to be frank, comparing one exalted with what I described earlier to be able to craft a decent item, one exalted orb seems decent even if it's low level, you know. You can keep these for 10 to 15 levels, by the way, no need to buy a new one that often. And yeah, you can start with +1 to minions and something like plus 20% spirit. I chose +2 and 35 because I could, but if you're not finding cheap scepters with your settings, just alter them a bit. Take a look at this scepter I bought yesterday for 1 divine orb, I believe. Great stats on it. I'd only scrapped the plus 38 mana and the attribute requirements for something else, but yeah, 4 out of 6, the good stats is more than enough for me. You still need to slap some Arcanist's etchers on a new scepter because the spirit increases with quality, you know, so this is a must, sadly. If you don't have any, don't worry, they are cheap in the currency exchange, or they are not so cheap anymore, damn it. Well, get them while they are hot, what can I say? Anyway, after you place an order, oh god damn it, it's getting worse by the second. They were like 15-1 yesterday. What happened? Jesus. Anyway, so when you're able to place your order, you control click the item when it's placed into your inventory. See, it's easy to use. It's a good way to exchange some currency if you lack something. Now, going back to the scepter, slam 20 of those items onto it, so it increases the spirit considerably. That's like plus 30 or something spirit. So yeah, it's pretty good. That's like an entire extra minion or something. So this is what you should do with the weapon. Of course, this can be applied to any class. You just need to know what's good for your build. Now, let's fish for helmets. The process is similar, but here you go as in detail as your pockets let you. You can add extra energy shield, extra life, of course, some resistances, but while leveling, I wouldn't go that far, especially life. That stat increases the price dramatically, so yeah, I wouldn't fish for life items. I'll go through this entire process for the helmet and I'll buy a shitty one because the other guy didn't reply, but yeah, this is it. This is the entire process of buying stuff, and by doing that you will save some headaches and will be able to do bosses pretty fast. Again, this still requires you to have a good build, you know. For my mercenary, I went 90% by ear. I just looked up some gem combinations to see what people prefer, but that was it. You can just search for the stats you want in the passive tree to make a plan, you know. I went for grenade and projectile damage, of course, some attack speed and area of effect, as I wanted the grenades to overlap and blast huge areas, so my video card cries in pain every time my mercenary blows stuff up. The unwritten rule of trading is when you buy something, you copy the whisper on the website, you go back to the game. What I do is have the currency in my inventory already prepared, so I don't waste time. Press enter, Ctrl V to paste the message, enter and wait. Usually you'll get invited in a party, then right click the name of the other guy, go to his hideout, and yeah, wait for him to open a trade window and put your currency in, hover over the item, take a look and make sure it's the right item so you're not scammed. And yeah, accept the trade, say thank you and leave the party and leave his hideout. It's pretty straightforward, but it's not the ideal way. I know it sucks. This trading method is freaking old, but it's what we have. It's what we have in Path of Exile 1, it's what we have in this game too. Hopefully they will add some auction house at some point, but until then, this is as good as we get. And yeah, this is it. And this is pretty much it, guys and girls. This is how you don't get stuck in the campaign. It pained me to see how many of you in the comments of my boss guides said you got stuck. And yeah, this is why I made this video. I hope it helped you and made sense. Until next time, take care and see ya, Exile.